Keenan, I'll give this to Kyle too. I'll give you a chance to put your money where your mouth is. I got a timestamp right here, Monday at 8:40 p.m. You said the Patriots will be representing the AFC in the 2025-2026 Super Bowl.
Stamp it.
$100. I'll give you 2-1 odds right now that they will not make the Super Bowl.
I'm not taking that. I'm not taking
a bet on it.
Oh, here we go. Timestamped it. He said stamp it.
No.
I just don't want to make money, right? That's just what
I don't. Wait, $100. I'm putting 100 on it.
I'll give you 2 if they make it.
I don't feel putting 100 on it. I'll go 50.
All right.
This is gonna sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Without further ado, part 2.
Yeah.
You got any other comments?
That was the only one that came to mind.
So this tier is called Late Season Push. I believe these 3 teams can make a push not only for their divisions, but possibly a late season conference championship push. If you want to say the big game on top of that, who knows? You guys want to take a stab at these 3 teams, or do you want me to just reveal?
Just reveal these unless Timmy wants to take a stab at it.
You can reveal them.
Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
More so for the division there, and not necessarily Super Bowl or championship weekend. And the Houston Texans.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's the thing about this tier is I think all of them are slotted there if you're adding in what's happened so far this season. I think that realistically the 2 Texas teams actually could be higher up on like how good they are right now. Sure. If you don't take into account what the season obviously has hold, which you can't do. Clearly, the season is the season. But one team 6-5-1, one 7-5. But right now, if you're talking about 2 teams, we probably think both teams are both borderline top, like both top 10 or roughly around that top 10. And if everything was 0-0 and we had a 5-game slate for the rest of the season to get into the playoffs, we feel, at least I feel, both of these teams would make it. I do. I think that the way that they're playing right now, the way that they've come together, Dallas has figured out their defense, and Houston just needs to continue to get a little bit healthier, and their offense will come along and get a little bit together too. But like this game against the Chiefs on Sunday for the Texans, I know the Chiefs are favored in it, but oh boy.
KC or Houston?
The KC's favored in it.
No, I mean, where's the game at?
It's in Kansas City.
Okay.
I think they're favored by 3.5 in Kansas City, if I remember correctly last time I looked. But oh boy.
What you think, Tim?
No, I totally agree with it. I think I had said in the group chat after the Black Friday game that I think that the Cowboys are going to win their division. I think they're 2 games behind right now, but the tie is actually going to be a big deal. Like if they both get to 10 wins, they get the seed over them because they don't have as many losses. So it's going to be close. Hell, right now, Dallas just looks like a better team than Philly does. The defense has definitely turned it around. I had said when they traded for Quinnen Williams that I didn't understand how stopping the run fixes their terrible pass defense, but it seems to have done enough. And the defense does look a lot better right now than it did. The other 2 teams, I am now blanking on them.
The Panthers and the Texans.
The Panthers, they could run the table and like win their division. I don't think they will. I still think the Bucs are a little bit better than them, and the Bucs are starting to get healthy right now. They just got Bucky back. Now we're getting word that Mike Evans might be coming back soon. Chris Godwin has finally returned, and he seems healthy. So I think the Bucs are going to stick it out and probably win their division. But it's very promising for the Panthers because they've been a super like up and down team, and a lot of it has looked pretty good this year. So I think they're in the right direction, especially for next year.
They have some quality wins like the Rams, the Packers.
Yep.
It was like
quality win at scoring 13 points. Usually those 2 sentences don't go together very well.
Yeah, it's like quality opponent win, I should say.
Yes.
But like, though they had a true quality win against the Rams, but like they had a quality turned them over 3 times, and then obviously the Packers game was just like they beat a team that might win their division, and we think possibly could go to the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
So like,
Definitely.
good win.
The Texans, man, this defense is crazy. It's like weird. Whatever reason, that 1 month stretch with Davis Mills, the offense looked better than when CJ Stroud plays. And that doesn't make any sense to me. It's
Mhm.
probably just like an opponent thing, but I don't know. Something might be askew there. It's a little worrying. But the defense is unreal. So like they probably could win this game this weekend, and that right there would put them almost in the driver's seat of the division. Especially with the Jaguars being the Jaguars. So yeah.
Mhm. The Colts having such a tough end of the season, and then Daniel Jones with the leg fracture, like they possibly could fall out of the
Mhm.
playoffs entirely, which would be insane after what they started. We could also see, it's possible if things play out, we also could see 3 AFC South teams get,
Somehow.
Yeah.
which if you would have told me that preseason, no. No. And listen, the Texans tried to do what the 49ers did last year, and like you called the fact that Joe
I
Mixon
got
wasn't going to play.
50% of it right. The other,
Like and
it
you
was looking
looked
so
right
good.
5 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
then the Texans defense said no, and Davis Mills came in and was like,
You know what? Let's just go
okay,
4-1. Like,
I can kind of play a bit. And I think they just tried to simplify everything for Davis Mills, and he made the throws and the plays and the reads that he needed. And
Quality backup.
I think that's just what they need to do with CJ Stroud. Not treat him like Davis Mills, but just simplify everything. CJ, take exactly what the defense will give you, and realize that you just need to get to 20.
yeah.
They looked all right this Sunday.
They
with
did.
CJ
They
Stroud.
did, and that's what they did. They got to 20 and they won. Like pretty much every game, if you can get to 20 to 24 points, you'll be great. And if you could just be good on third down and good late game and not turn the ball over and put them in plus territory, this Texans team will be a very difficult team to beat. But we'll see. The Sunday night, I cannot wait for Sunday night's game.
Let me go team by team here. Panthers. Had I done it last week, had we done this tiers list last week like it was supposed to, Panthers probably are in the worthy competitors tier.
Yeah.
The fact that they beat the Rams at home, at the Rams' own game, like they outscored the Rams.
Mhm.
I at least have to take them seriously for their division.
Yep.
I asked Keenan, I believe 2 weeks ago, hey, what do you think's a better chance here? The fact, I forget what the teams were, but it was essentially, do the Panthers have a chance to win their division? And I think Keenan settled on no, and I probably leaned that way too. And I said the thing that the Panthers do have is they have 2 matchups against the Bucs to where they can control their own destiny.
Yeah.
What I did not expect was them to beat the Rams, especially in that way. Me and Keenan were saying this, like if it was 20-13, sure. If it's an ugly home win, we've seen the Panthers do that to a few teams this year. We've seen the fact that the Panthers play well at home too. Did not expect this to where they actually like force Stafford to some turnovers. I remember one of my notes, I don't know if I said this on the show, but I remember my notes after the Packers win at Lambeau was that the Panthers were growing up in front of our eyes.
Mhm.
Like it was an ugly win. Bryce Young I think he threw for like 105 yards that game. But the way they handled themselves, like they handled themselves like they should have won that game.
Yeah.
You know? Funny enough, Tim, I don't know if you were on the podcast yet. I think you might have been. But when Bryce Young was coming out of college, of course, I don't know shit about these quarterbacks coming out of college, but I remember asking Keenan, I'm like, what's the big deal with him? Because I know he's undersized. Like, what's the big sell with him? And Keenan said he was poised. And I was like, okay, but so what? You know what I mean? That was kind of my reaction. And we've seen it. He's been a lot of fodder on this podcast where we say, like, all right, he's looked awful at times. He's looked great at times. He's looked okay. This year, I've seen the poise where the stats really don't matter. He's making throws and he's making plays when you need to. Whether they'll be in the playoffs, whether they actually win the division, we'll see. But, I mean, they've got a bright future ahead of them, it seems. And it seems like that coach, Dave Canales, seems like he's got his guys playing for him. And that defense is legit, especially at home. And occasionally on the road, too, at Green Bay.
And they finally took our advice that we gave like week 3 or 4 on the podcast. It was like, why do we pay Rico Dowdle the money to not use him? And then they said, wait, we'll use him. And then he ran,
right there.
and then he ran for 200. And then ran for like $180 again. I was like, wait a second,
They're a tough team.
they use them. So like they know what they want to do and they know who they are. It's just they might be devoid of talent to be a playoff team, but they go into games knowing, hey, when we're good, we want to run the ball, we want to play good defense, and Bryce make a few plays. Like they know that's kind of what they want to do. So
these two Texas teams in particular, I think I've been higher on them than just about everybody on this podcast most of the season. Texans, I'm always kind of been like, all right, if they can put it together for 3 weeks, I think they can put it together for a season. Little did I know that 3 weeks would be with Davis Mills. I'm going to be honest with you, man. If the Houston Texans make it to the playoffs, if they can find a way to either win the division or get in as a wild card, I'm really going to be looking for them as a Super Bowl contender. The way that defense is playing, they've got some sort of semblance of a running game now, which they did not have probably the first 8 or 9 weeks of the season. If you're protecting CJ Stroud enough, we know he can hit his guys. You still got Nico there. With that defense, with that home field advantage, man, like why couldn't they win 2 games?
they also have the most experience out of a lot of these teams in the playoffs. I mean, they've gotten to the divisional round the last 2 years. This team in iteration has won multiple playoff games. So like
they've got a real coach too.
If you don't have, say, the Chiefs in, and say you don't have either Burrow or Lamar in, so you're going to have Allen and then Stroud's your second most experienced quarterback out of the whole unit, pretty much after what maybe one of the NFC North guy or AFC North guys. So like, yeah, why couldn't they? Really, why couldn't they? They're a scary team, and a team as a Patriots fan, if I saw the Houston Texans even going to Foxborough, I'd be like, goodness, this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough one. That was always the teams that scared me as a Patriots fans, were those tough defensive teams where you got to get into a gritty and ugly game. The shootouts I was never worried with. Obviously, that was with Brady, but the shootouts I was never worried because I was like, yeah, we'll score more.
For sure. And as far as the Dallas Cowboys go, I mean, I said in like week 7, give this team a little bit of health on defense. That offense will carry you. They've gotten a little bit of, I don't want to say luck, but they've gotten some help with Philly just not looking great this past month. And then back-to-back losses within a week. One, obviously, to Dallas. Like Tim said, little did we know that tie would help, right? That tie is going to help if there's any sort of close record with not only a lot of teams, but, of course, with Philly. If they tie Philly, yeah, that tie is going to come into play. Have loved how the offense has looked all season. This defense is showing life. Dak looks like the real deal. Pickens looks like the number 1A on that team when you got CD dropping balls. So if you got 2 number 1s there, why not, man? And the way Javante's running, yeah, I think this team's a contender. They're out of the playoff picture technically right now. They're outside of the wild card spot, but they get in, man. I'm taking them as serious as anybody. So,
and it's about playing. It's about peaking at the right time, and obviously they're looking the best right now, but if they make the playoffs, they would have to continue to streak into the playoffs. So it wasn't like they'd peak and be able to fall. Like, they can't fall now. So if they're streaking at the right time, that's what you want at this time of year. So
they've got a coach, they've got a QB. I don't know. This doesn't feel like most Dallas years. I've liked this team, honestly, since week 1. Since I've seen how they handled themselves against Philly up until the thunderstorm, whatever that was. I mean, they just looked like a professional team. Yeah. They did not look like a joke. These next 2 tiers, I could flip them either way, and it would make sense. I'm going to read it as I got it.
Okay.
Because I do think these 2 teams are better than the next 2 teams, and you'll see how they fall. This tier is called Show Me What You Got. Shouts to Jay-Z. There's 2 teams, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. And I think the title of that and the teams that I named, it's pretty self-explanatory. Their backs are against the wall here. I think each team, if they suffer one more loss, we can pretty much count them out.
Yeah.
Just given how their divisions go, not so much how they are as a team. So it's Show Me What You Got territory for them. They're 2 teams many thought would be contenders. Still are contenders, honestly. They're in. We're obviously, taking them as serious as anybody.
Yeah.
But because in the Chiefs' case, the Chargers and the Broncos are ahead of them, and in the Lions' case, the Packers and the Bears are ahead of them, they just might find themselves out of the playoffs, which, by the way, is dangerous for everybody else next year, having these guys play a second or third place schedule, especially if it's a third place schedule.
And drafting, instead of drafting 28 to 32, they're drafting in the teens and then hey, let's trade up to 9 and get somebody.
Good luck to everybody.
Like, hey, let's trade. Let's go get a piece. So, yeah, no, I like this tier a lot. I agree with the name. I agree with the teams that are in it because these are two teams that going into the year, the Chiefs are champions and the Lions carried themselves like they are champions, like the way that they actually act on the field, game in and game out. There's teams that on any given Sunday you feel could almost be the best team in the league, almost the way that they play, just because of how scary that those offenses both can be. And then defensively, each of them have pieces that can get to either get to the quarterback or get it done. And they've both been in high leverage situations. Obviously, the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, but I mean, the Lions did get to an NFC Championship game and a divisional round game last year, so they've been in some high leverage moments. But I like both of them. I think if I had to bet right now on both of these teams, I actually think both of them probably miss the playoffs. But there are also two teams that for everybody in the playoffs, it's please don't let them get in. Like mentally is like they're thinking like don't let these teams get in because you don't. I understand Jared Goff might not be the greatest in bad weather, but Tampa doesn't want to be a 4 seed and see a Lions team come to them first round. Like golly, what do we have to deal with Jahmyr Gibbs in a fast track on in actual decent weather, and obviously the Broncos don't want to be a 2 seed and Chiefs says the 7 going to Mile High, and they've been comfortable there throughout Mahomes' career. So I agree with both of these teams, and I think both of them show me what you got / watch out.
Yeah, we're kind of getting into like the parity that I brought up right at the beginning of the pod. These two teams, very well teams that we both could have picked to be Super Bowl contenders preseason. They could have been 1 seeds preseason. Now they're staring down the rifle, looking at not even making the playoffs. I think the Chiefs will make it, and I think the Lions won't make it. I think what Kyle said is pretty true. If they lose 1 more game, they're pretty much out. If they lose 2, it's pretty much done. The Lions play this Thursday against the Cowboys. We just talked about how we all think the Cowboys are like on the up and up. They're peaking. Here we are. The Lions banged up coming into this Thursday night game. It's going to be weird though because Dan Campbell off a loss is now 13-0, and now he's got to play this game. So I don't even know how I want to pick that game going forward. But I think the only way the Lions can make the playoffs is if the division falls apart and they can win at 10 wins. And like the Bears lose out and they win 1 more game, and then the Packers barely get to 10, and like then the Lions get there. That's like the only way I can see them squeaking in at this point, because the NFC is loaded. There's going to be 3 wildcard teams that are 11-win teams, it seems, at this point. So it's going to be really tough for them.
Yeah, tomorrow's both teams mathematically can deal with a loss tomorrow, and if they win out, they have a chance to make the playoffs. Both teams, if they don't win tomorrow, most likely won't make the playoffs, kind of thing. So, like, obviously, they're both in situations to where their season's not over if they lose tomorrow, but it's not looking good at all if they do, which is why tomorrow is going to be a great game, and I'm sorry, Kyle.
Yes. This was the game I'm looking forward to most, and I get into Charlotte tomorrow around 4:30, and then I don't get into Burlington until around 11:30, till right before midnight. And my flight, so I'll be able to watch up until halftime. Basically, my flight leaves at 9:30. Airplane Wi-Fi is just spotty. The last time I tried it, just did not get great luck watching a game. So we'll see if I can watch it. I will be watching it. If I can't, I'm going to end up missing that whole second half, and I'm going to be like left in suspense with what happened, unless it's like a 28-0 first half. Here.
Yeah.
So I'm almost hoping for a blowout, but I would rather everyone else get a good game, too, I guess. But yeah, I'm not happy with possibly having to miss this second half of this game.
Yeah.
This do or die game.
What's that next tier you have there?
Let me ask you, though. Tim said if you had to pick one, Chiefs get in. What do you think? If you had to pick one out of the Lions and the Chiefs.
I would say the Chiefs, just because I think it's more likely that there are teams in the AFC that collapse.
I think the Chargers could collapse, especially with this 100%. whole fractured hand ordeal. They play Philly on Monday night, so like we'll kind of see right away if this is going to be possible. If he's wearing a damn cast the way Aaron Rodgers was, just count him out right now, because I don't know how your quarterback wearing a cast is going to work when it comes to gripping the football. So, yeah.
And then it's also with the Colts as the thing is like if they have the tiebreaker now over the Colts, like that's one of the only tiebreakers they own, but it could be the important tiebreaker because say the Jags end up winning the division at 11-6, Houston, they have to beat Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they lose, like this game is the same way the Lions and Cowboys is, but even more so for the Chiefs. Because if the Chiefs lose to Houston, then they really are done because now it comes down to like tiebreakers because it's going to be the Patriots, Broncos, Jags, an AFC North team, Bills, Texans, and then I guess it'd come down to the Chargers, the Colts, or them.
Chargers are really the Chiefs' only hope because they just lose so many tiebreakers.
If they lose to the Texans this Sunday, they are praying that the Texans win the division because then they don't need to beat them on tiebreakers. They can beat up the other teams on tiebreakers. That's the only.
Except for they lose to the Jags. Which is tough.
They totally lost to the Jags.
Yeah, so like that Jags loss is going to be the reason why they might not make the playoffs. Yeah. Like if they beat the Jags in that game up 14-0, and they just beat the Jags, they could afford another loss too and still get in as a wild card. They just want to forfeit the division to Denver. But yeah, and the thing is they have to have a better record than the Chargers. They can't have the same record because the Chargers are already 4-0 in the division, and the Chiefs, I mean, I guess they're 1-2. So I guess the Chiefs, the Chargers have to lose their last one, but even then, Denver might say week 18, we can keep the Chiefs out, we'll sit people. Like that could be a thing. That I still think is a thing that could be on the table. So just be looking out for that if the Broncos are locked in at the 2 or they're locked in at the 1, possibly if like the New England Patriots lose a bit, but if they locked in at the 2, most likely would be locked in there. Could be interesting if they say, we'll sit everyone. See you, Chiefs. Have fun.
Very well could
have fun, Chargers. Get in the playoffs. We don't want Mahomes here anyway.
On to the next tier.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the last tier I have any sort of confidence in with my remaining tiers. And there's a few more tiers after this.
Okay.
Spiraling sleepers. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got the Indianapolis Colts. Real quick before you guys go.
Yeah.
Buccaneers do not look good. This was the WBP and in particular Keenan and Brandon's darling. And I'd say like overall this whole podcast we love them as a sleeper. Like this was the quintessential sleeper coming out of the preseason. They looked the part. I'd say probably the first 8 weeks. They continued to get hurt when they were already hurt, and now they just look like they are limping in. And now these Panthers games are way more important than we ever thought, as we talked about 20 minutes ago. So I'm worried about the Bucs just with how they look, but they've got that playoff pedigree. They've won these games going back the last couple years. So they've earned our respect, but at the same time, man, they just are limping into the playoffs, limping into the end of the season. So I'm worried about them. Colts, you could say the same thing. Actually really like this Colts team. I do think if they could get in healthy, Daniel Jones has a fractured tibia. Fibula. Fractured fibula. Full participant. It hinders his mobility, but from the pocket, he's okay, apparently. I actually like how he's been playing quarterback. They've had some tough losses here. I really think only that Steelers game was like a poor performance by him. So I like them, but they're kind of spiraling at the wrong time too. If I had to pick out of the two, I have more confidence right now, probably in the Colts than the Bucs. But the Bucs really just got to win those 2 Panthers games. So how y'all feel?
As a team, I think that the Colts might have a little bit better of a roster. I have more faith in the Bucs because they've been there before in the playoffs. They've been in these division races before, and I trust Baker and so kitty. I trust Baker and that team a little bit more than I do trust the Colts down the stretch. Both have. The Bucs also have a lighter schedule. The Colts have the Jags twice, the Texans, the 49ers, and the Seahawks. Like that is a very tough schedule to where like they could go 1-4 or 2-3, and at 10-7 they might miss it to a Chiefs or to somebody else. But I do think the Bucs, I thought that they were going to have one less loss at this point in time. And the middle stretch and how they looked against the Patriots, the Bills, and then the Rams, of course, that really made you lose faith. If they beat one of those three teams in a decent win and Baker doesn't get hurt in that Rams game and it's close, you feel a little bit better about them, but you're very fair to have them in the spiraling contenders, or sleeper rather. I would actually, as you were saying before, I would flip the tier. I think that the Chiefs and Lions would be ahead of the Bucs and the Colts for me, but I like both of the tier. I know you were literally saying that before.
Here's the thing. Team-wise, yes, the Chiefs and the Lions are probably better than the Bucs and Colts.
Mhm.
Even though I would say it took them blitzing the hell out of Daniel Jones for them to even beat the Colts, the Chiefs, a couple weeks ago there.
Yeah.
So I think, honestly, head up, I can't say the Colts aren't better than the Chiefs.
Mhm.
But pedigree-wise, yeah, the Chiefs and Lions probably have a little more talent than the Bucs
Mhm.
and the Colts. But this is kind of more based off of Bucs and Colts probably have a better chance of making the playoffs.
They're in the playoffs right now, the Chiefs and Lions. No, I know it's fair.
But yeah, I agree. You could flip them either way.
But
It looks weird one way and it looks weird the other way too. But
no, I would personally flip them, but I don't think it's really the end of the world. I think that these teams all being together around the same spot is where I have it. But Tim, what are your thoughts?
I pretty much agree. I got two things for this tier. One, both of these teams, if they make the playoffs, are first-round exits to me. And two, put Philadelphia in this tier. They're spiraling. They're not a contender.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. So I was explaining to Keenan before, like, you can almost put the four we just named, the Chiefs, Lions, Colts, and Bucs, they're essentially all in the same tier. I'm just tiering those sleeper tiers. You know what I mean? Like, I would say even the next two tiers that I have, they could all be in this tier. We'll get to Philly in a short minute here, but yeah, there's a lot of sleepers. I got more sleepers coming up. Do you want to keep going, or we got more comments on the Colts and Bucs?
No, you can keep going. You can keep going there.
This is where it gets tough for me, and this is maybe where we can all kind of group them together if I'm not too confident. All right. This tier is called the alleged sleeper team. Any stabs?
The alleged sleeper?
The alleged sleeper team.
It's the Patriots.
Great guess. I thought about putting them in here.
The Broncos?
Chicago Bears.
The Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears. And Tim, it's funny you say that. We'll get to the Pats. This would have been the other tier I put the Pats in. They're not in this tier clearly, but I thought long and hard about putting the Pats in this tier with the Bears. The Bears are 8-3 as we speak, correct?
9-3.
9-3. They're winning their division as we speak.
They're winning the conference as we speak.
And they are winning the conference as we speak. And I know they're a good team. Am I wrong? Do you guys agree with me? I don't think they're a great team. As the number one seed through week 13, where we usually have some concrete, like, okay, all right, this team is, especially in the loaded NFC. Yeah, I don't think the Bears are better than the Rams. You know what I mean?
If we're basing this tier off of this is a good team with a lot of wins, but not a great team, then I got two more teams that got to go in this tier.
And you're putting the Broncos and the Patriots in that tier.
I'm putting the Broncos and the Patriots in that tier. I'm not confident in either of those teams any more than I am in the Bears right now.
Tim, you are not wrong. You are not wrong at all. As we get through the tiers, we'll see. We'll see. I think that it'll make sense, but I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm saying that as a diehard Pats fan. I know how good I think the Pats are a better team than the Bears for sure, but I would get everyone else's skepticism on them. I would say I was just as skeptical 2 weeks ago. I don't want to make this a Pats thing because we'll get to them. I will say you can't sneeze at 10 straight wins. So
which is why the Broncos are up to. I mean, they have they're at 9. I think they're at 10 if they win this week.
But absolutely no disagreement when you say, hey, why couldn't the Broncos or Pats be in this tier? Because, yeah, there's a lot of arguments to be made with a lot of the teams that are ahead of the Bears. So no argument. What you thinking?
I like the Bears in this situation. I like the Bears in this tier. I think they deserve to be here. I don't think they're a great team, but I do think that they're a good team. And they're a team that have continued to say, as we've talked about it a little bit, like they know what they exactly want to do. Ben Johnson is like, yeah, we're going to run the ball a lot. We're going to keep the ball a lot. The defense is not great, but it has been taking the ball away from other teams a lot, which is hard to replicate, like in the playoffs consistently when you're getting against the best quarterbacks and the best players, to trust that you're going to take the ball away from teams. Unlike like the Texans can just stop you before you get to midfield, like where they're just the hellacious pass rush, the Stingley on the outside. Like they have a lot of stuff that can hinder you offensively. But the Bears are a good team that it's going to be tough because in January, if you have to go to Chicago and it is 20-mile-an-hour winds and snowing, they have what you would want, which would be a run game and a team that is opportunistic taking the ball away. So like you have to respect them, you have to treat them seriously, but I don't think you need to treat them as a contender, like a Super Bowl contender. But I think that they could get to the divisional round and make it difficult for a team in that game.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I've said it before. I've compared them to the Jags and the fact that they could lose a game, they could win a game type of thing.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I have to give them the respect that they're not like we can lose whenever we want type of Jags.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this is like what the best version of the Jacksonville Jaguars should look like, because they've got the talent. They've got an opportunistic defense. They were leading the league in turnovers at one point. So that's kind of how I look at the Bears. Like I cannot take them seriously as a contender to me because I just look at them as a smarter Jaguars team. Like I could see them, let's say they face the Packers in the playoffs, home or away. I could probably see them beating the Packers. I'd favor the Packers, but I could see them beating the Packers.
Well, we'll see in about 5 days.
See in about 5 days, right? But if we're talking like NFC playoff picture, like in the playoffs, I would still I'd pick the Packers, but I think the Bears could dumb their way into a win. Now, if it's Bears Lions in the NFC playoffs, divisional round, wild card round, whatever, I'm taking the Lions every single day. Like that's just how I look at it. So the Bears are ahead of a lot of teams that I think are better than them right now, but we, by the letter of the law, have to take them seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to Keenan, who they play Friday? Oh, the Eagles. I said they're dumb enough to beat the Eagles. That's kind of how I look at them. Like they're super talented. They've got everything you want as a team. And Ben Johnson's apparently a good coach, sitting at 9-3 at the top of the conference.
Taking his shirt off and flexing on people.
Right? But I just don't know. 13 weeks in, I still don't know. And the record is what it is. And they've got explosion. They can be an explosive offense when they want. They can even be an explosive defense when they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't know. And I don't know if that makes me a hater or if that's what my eyes see. So,
Timmy, what are your thoughts?
Pretty much agree with Kyle. Like, I don't know if I would pick them to beat the Packers or the Lions. They kind of seem like a team that could lose to the Vikings later on. So, like, it wouldn't surprise me either way. I don't think this team ends up as the 1 seed. I think they will get knocked down a peg or two. So, yeah, they're an interesting team because they have tons of talent on offense. Between just Rome Odunze and DJ Moore should be enough to like get the job done. They drafted pretty well. You know, Colston Loveland's a great tight end, and then Luther Burden also can get some run. But they don't pass very well. They just run really, really well. So it's such an interesting team. I don't know. I'm not going to count when it comes playoff time for the defense to get them 2 turnovers or 3 turnovers. You know, I'm not going to count on that when it comes to playoff football. So I don't think I can count on them to win a football game in January. But yeah, it's going to be tough for them to win. They're going to be underdogs pretty much whatever team they play, I think, going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we go from the alleged sleeper team to the sleeper team. This team, I've kind of gone back and forth. I've mostly been on the upside of them as far as a playoff team, as far as a tough team. But now I think they've earned our respect to be the true sleeper, essentially replacing the Buccaneers at the beginning of the season. And that's the San Francisco 49ers. I think it would be fair even. It's funny. We just talked about the Bears and how much I don't trust them. I think it would almost be fair to trust the Bears a little more than the Niners just because the defense is more whole and more healthy in Chicago. But that being said, this team's still 7-4. I picked against them this past Sunday. I thought the Browns would win that game. 9-4. Excuse me.
no, you're good.
I'm 2 weeks behind apparently in my mind. 9-4, right in the mix of things. Again, another tough win. They got beat up in Cleveland 2 years ago when they went in, I think, undefeated. I expected them to lose in tough weather against a Cleveland team that's amazing at home with their defense. Shador's okay enough. He can protect the ball. And honestly, Cleveland was in that game up until that muffed punt. I thought they would have won that game. And you know what? San Francisco handled business. They've made playoff runs with Kyle Shanahan, always either the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. We have to take them seriously. We just have to. We just have to consider. I mean, we wouldn't be shocked if they go in and beat the Packers in Green Bay. I don't think we'd be shocked if they beat the Eagles, right? They beat the Eagles before, not in the playoffs. They lost that one game with Brock Purdy, but like we wouldn't be shocked if this team was playing on Championship Sunday. And this isn't the best version of them, especially on defense, but if they can ramp it up on offense, they seem to be getting healthier and healthier by the week. Why not? Why can't they outscore teams? Even though you need defense in January, we know that. Saleh on certain weeks has at least gotten this defense to play opportunistic, especially when they're ahead. When you're ahead, it's easier to play defense. So it's very contingent, but I trust this team more than the Bears, even though the Bears are a bit healthier, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But at this point in the year, they're still winning. They're still weathering the storm. To me, they're the true sleeper at this point. So,
Timmy, your thoughts?
I agree. I think this team, one thing you didn't mention, they all have playoff experience. They've all been, like,
100%.
this whole team has pretty much made it to the Super Bowl.
That's why they're the true sleeper.
So they are going to come in and, hell, if they're playing LA, I could absolutely see them beating LA, divisional matchup, tough game like that. So
they're not going to be afraid.
no, not at all. So it is tough with them being so injured, especially defensively injured, but you're right. Saleh's got the defense playing good against the Panthers on Monday night. They shut them down, and then against the Browns and the old 5th-round pick Shador Sanders, they shut them down too. So I think they are a sleeper. It wouldn't surprise me if they're playing in February in the Super Bowl. I probably won't pick them that way, but yeah, they definitely are a better sleeper to me than the Bears. Absolutely.
Here's the thing. They have the experience, as you mentioned, and when you go through everything, they're not afraid of Seattle. They play them in the division, and they can beat Seattle, and they already have. You have a Rams team that Kyle Shanahan has played well against McVay in that team. They are not afraid of that team. They have the Packers number. If the Cowboys randomly to get in the playoffs, they have the Cowboys number. We don't trust the Eagles in the way that they're playing football right now. The Bears are super young. The Lions might give them the most problem. They have even beaten them in a playoff game too to get to the Super Bowl. So like every team they have experience against, they're a team that I thought were not going to be in this position because I thought the defensive losses were going to be a little bit too much when it's Nick Bosa, when it's Fred Warner, when it's just these very important, pivotal guys. Some of the best guys in the league are getting injured, but hey, they are playing well. They are working hard every week. And the thing about it is, if something happened to Brock, you still have confidence in them because they have Mac Jones, who's been playing almost as well as Brock Purdy has been playing this year. And with Christian McCaffrey, as long as he is healthy, that team is going to give anybody a problem. So
guys, I just want to say, it's been a running joke on this podcast that the NFL has scheduled their season around this podcast and like our topics. Week 17, we get Bears-Niners in San Francisco. Niners remaining schedule, they got the Titans. Let's just call that a win. Titans at home next week. Or this Sunday.
The worst team I've seen in a long time.
Then they go to Indy. Then they get the Bears, as we just mentioned, and then they end with the Seahawks at home. So they for sure get one win there with the Titans. We'll say that. So they're going to have 10 wins. And then whatever happens in those last 3 weeks, I'd expect at least one more win.
I think 11-6 as a 5, 6, or 7 seed, depending on where it falls. And they're going to scare the living whatever out of maybe Green Bay going to Lambeau. And they're going to be like, not again. Last time they were here, with Raheem Mostert ran for 200, like, not again. Like, I don't want to see this again. So, I can't.
The defense can be had, but the defense plays with energy. That's what I'll
they
say.
they care.
Saleh, awful head coach, not a good head coach, probably won't head coach again, but incredible coordinator, like tailor-made for a coordinator.
Yep.
Moving on, this is where we're gonna have some real dissension, and I love it. The flawed contenders, 3 teams, fellas.
Yep.
The Denver Broncos,
Yeah.
the Eagles of Philadelphia,
Yeah.
and the Green Bay Packers. React. I'll respond to y'all.
They fit there. So you said the Packers, you said the
Eagles and the
Eagles
Broncos.
and the Broncos. So Broncos can Bo Nix get it done? I'll save some of the Patriot comparisons that I had when you guys were talking about, obviously, because Timmy had said that he could add the Patriots and the Broncos in with the Bears, and I'll explain why I personally wouldn't. And we get that when we talk about the Patriots. I understand the Broncos being there because that defense, though as of late it has been getting gashed a little bit more, it still is a very good defense. Like, it's still very, very talented. It's a very tough defense. They have arguably the best home field advantage in all of football, you could argue. Like, obviously it's up there with Arrowhead, it's up there with Seattle, it's up there with a lot of these great places to play. Then they have talent. Obviously, RJ Harvey's good. He's not J.K. Dobbins running between the tackles, but RJ Harvey is good. It comes down really to how much do you trust Bo Nix? Because Bo Nix will give you one. He'll give you that Bobby Wagner one where he's just, what did I do? And so there's that. The Eagles, obviously, they have the makings of a championship team because they have the roster of a champion. They lost a couple pieces, but like the defense hasn't really taken a step back from last year now that they got a couple pieces at the midway point of the season. But offensively, though they have the pieces, it's been eek. It's been tough for them to get going offensively. So that makes sense. And the Packers are really, again, quarterback dependent too, because when Jordan Love is on and when Jordan Love is playing well, that team's like, yeah, we'll see you in February. And then sometimes it's like, oh, will they make it out of January the first weekend? Like, sometimes it gets to that point with the Packers. But overall, the Packers are sort of a team that all of us were high on going into the season. And when Jordan Love does play well, they're really difficult to beat because they offensively can gash you in many ways. Defensively, get after the quarterback, they can stop the run pretty decent. And so I like the tier. I like it.
I don't mind the tier at all. I think with the Packers, I think after they got Micah, and even before they got Micah, we all just kind of set our sights too high. I think they're a very similar team to what they were last year and the year before that.
Yeah.
Adding Micah, a lot of people thought that would just kind of put them over the edge, and we just haven't seen that yet. LaFleur seems to coach a lot better in the colder months, so they could easily tighten it up. They could make a run and win the division. They could, be a damn good playoff team. The Denver Broncos are the Kansas City Chiefs of last year. They're a good defense, playing a lot of ugly games, winning all the one-score games. That's exactly what the Chiefs did last year. The Broncos are doing it this year, and I don't think anybody's going to have confidence to pick them in the playoffs because Bo Nix is not Patrick Mahomes. So I could see them being a first-round exit. Absolutely. And then the third team, I've already forgot it. Eagles suck. They should be down 2 tiers, like I said. And then the third team that needs to be in here is the Patriots. They should actually be in the tier before this. I don't see a difference between the Patriots. Okay, here's the difference between the Patriots and the Broncos. The Patriots have an MVP candidate on offense. The Broncos don't. That's it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll give you my reasoning for each team. Let's start with the Packers. We were all, as you said, Tim, we were extremely high on them. And this was even before Micah. No Micah. Here's the thing. I think this is going to be the team for as long as we have the Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur companionship, relationship, whatever you want to call it, head coach, playership. They're just always going to underwhelm you a little bit. I mean, it was just a month ago when people were talking about LaFleur possibly being out of Green Bay.
That was insane, personally. Like, why? I don't know why you would get rid of him at this point, but If we're keeping John Harbaugh and we're keeping Sean McDermott for this long, I don't know why Matt LaFleur needs to go at this point. That's my personal.
I don't think people were saying it was a Green Bay thing though. I think people were talking about maybe Matt LaFleur batting eyes at other teams. I don't think it was necessarily
because I know there are fans that were saying like he should go, and that's why I was like, I just don't know how you keep one out the other.
To be fair to that, this year notwithstanding, if we're going to talk about Harbaugh and McDermott, I don't think they put up stinkers like they do, like Matt LaFleur has this year. This team has been underwhelming consistently for what we thought they were going to be.
The Ravens did it like a period every year.
Ravens do it once. Ravens have done it this year. Harbaugh, depending on how this year finishes out, we could talk about it, but possible hot seat option. But the Packers have had full 3 to 4 weeks, or it's going to be 1 week where you're playing well, the next week underwhelming. That's why they're in the flawed contenders tier for me, because they have been so inconsistent. I think that Detroit Lions game on Thanksgiving, that was probably their best top to bottom performance since week 2 against the Commanders.
Since the Lions, one of the two.
I've been extremely disappointed in the Packers, and because of their performance this past Thanksgiving, I have to put them in this tier because they are still a contender. They still are they have talent everywhere. Jordan Love, he can win a game. He's almost like Eli Manning. He won't throw you as many picks as Eli Manning, but he can win you a game or he can lose you a game. Like, they will just sleepwalk through games. And that's where I think it is fair to criticize Matt LaFleur and where it is fair to criticize Jordan Love. Where I want to go, I'll stick with the NFC. Eagles. Y'all know where I'm going with this. To me, that defense is there. That defense has been emerging probably since week 8 or week 9. They've put QBs in jail the last 6 weeks probably, and their own QB has played in jail. So this is a big Jalen Hurts thing for me. He hasn't looked right. A.J. Brown obviously had his best game against Dallas last week, and I guess you could say Jalen Hurts did probably have his best game in a few weeks on Thanksgiving. Or excuse me, I'm talking about the Dallas game past Sunday. Bears, it was whatever. Against the Bears, that was on the defense. They kind of got dominated. The Bears were able to run all over them. But they're just flawed because of Hurts and because of A.J. Brown and that whole connection. Saquon hasn't looked the same. Overall, though, I love the defense. They're still a contender. And as I say that, we're all going to be scared to death to pick against them once it comes to January, especially if they're playing at home. So Philly is just, I don't know. I could see them in Super Sunday, and I could see them being a round 1 exit, depending on where they fall. Broncos, to me, if they're at home, if they get the 1 seed and they can just control their destiny throughout, that's going to be an extremely tough place to play. And I could see the Broncos playing on Sunday. Matter of fact, if the Pats get bounced, I'm going to be rooting for a Broncos-Eagles Super Bowl so we can have the jail ball Super Bowl. I'm
going to absolutely be rooting all against that if these teams are playing the way.
And we can move the Super Bowl from LA to Gillette and have that game played in Gillette, and we can just have a winner Super Bowl.
We want the longest yard part 2 or part 3. Like, what do we want? Literal jail ball? Like, because, no.
The Texans might be able to give you a little life there. If it's Eagles, Broncos, I think we get a 10-7 Super Bowl. So
gross. We love the 13-3 Super Bowl. The only thing we loved about that was the Patriots won by double digits for the first time.
I might be rooting for a jail ball Super Bowl if the Pats get bounced. But no, I really do think if the Broncos are at home, it's an extremely tough place to play. Yeah. It's an elite quarterback, no elite quarterback. I think Brady lost a game with the Pats early on to like Jake Plummer and the Broncos.
Yeah.
Just because it's a true place where you have home field advantage.
Threw a pick 6 and that almost got hit out of the back of the end zone by Christian Fourier, I think it was. Or Ben Watson. You're right, by Ben Watson. And then he lost to Peyton Manning there twice.
It's true.
He lost to Peyton Manning there twice. Once in
it's kind of the same with the Eagles. Eagles, I feel better about them at home. If they're on the road, they can still win, but I like them at the link better. But the Broncos, if they have to go on the road at all, I'm not taking them seriously. I'm not taking Bo Nix seriously. At home, I am taking them seriously, and I do think they're a Super Bowl threat. Not to mention, if we're going college football style, their resume, they've got real wins on their resume. They beat Philly on the road. Talk about jail wall.
It was a 17-10. It was like a 20-17 game or whatever the heck it was. I think they came back from 17-3 down, and
actually was a free-flowing game for those two teams, if we want to consider it that way. So yeah, despite the record, despite only the 2 losses, I agree with you guys. Except for me, it's contingent on home or away. If the Broncos are away, I don't love them as much. If they're at home, they can beat any single team in the NFL. So very contingent on what seed they get. Any retort, or do we want to move to the true contenders?
Can move to the true contenders.
And if you're doing math, we only got 4 teams left, and it's pretty obvious who those 4 teams are. I got the Buffalo Bills, the Patriots of New England, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Los Angeles Rams.
So the Los Angeles Rams absolutely should be there. I think we are all in agreement there, correct? The Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold scares me a little bit, but outside of Sam Darnold, I think that team is completely there. I'm fine with them being in the true contender, though it would shock me a little bit if they actually got to the Super Bowl, but I think they're a true contender because on any given week, they can beat anybody. Timmy, you agree with me there?
No.
No, you don't. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go team by team on this. I just wanted to get rid of it. So talk about the Seahawks, and then we'll keep going.
I would like to do a little case study. So we got to watch the Seahawks play football for the next 6 weeks or whatever, however long the season's left. I think Minnesota showed teams something. If you blanket coverage JSN and you force Seattle to run the football, you can beat them. Minnesota couldn't beat them because Max Brosmer's not going to be able to beat them.
Other they didn't have a real human at quarterback,
aka Nathan Peterman Part 2.
Exactly. Other teams will beat Seattle if they do that. The offense did not look that good, in my opinion, against Minnesota. They get the pick 6, so that was that, and then a few field goals, and then a touchdown, and then boom, that's 26 points. That's how that works out. But I think it's going to take some time here. I'm just calling my shot on it right now. The end of the season for Seattle will not be great. I think they'll probably go 500, and then people will be like, I don't think Seattle's a Super Bowl team at the end of the season. That's my shot. I'm calling it.
Okay. I don't fully disagree with that. I think that they're going to be a team that makes the playoffs, and if they have a home playoff game, they're going to be extremely tough to beat. But I do think if they have to travel, though they have been very good on the road overall, the Seahawks have been
historically good.
Historically good on the road. They've been historically good on the road, so it's not that they can't play on the road. It's just we've been in now situations where Sam Darnold's had to play in big games, and he hasn't really shown up in a lot of big games. There's going to be some big games toward the back half of the season. They're a team that I'm fine with in the true contenders, but they're a team that I could see falling down when we get to, in the playoffs, solidify, we see the seeds and see who they are. So they're a team I want to see more games. The Rams could go 3-3 over this stretch, and I still feel they're in the spots, they're in the moments. I trust Matt Stafford, Sean McVay to get something done.
Counterpoint.
Go on.
As we just mentioned, historically great road team.
Yeah.
Through this season or through 13 games, historically great team statistically wise.
Yes.
Going into that Rams-Seahawks game, dead even teams, honestly.
Dead even game, to be honest.
Dead even game. We got a terrible Sam Darnold game, and it was a kick away from a Seahawks win. And that game, the next time we get it, will be an incredible watch too, unless it's week 18. There's nothing to play for.
It's a Thursday night game in 2 weeks or 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay. Darnold, once again, is aside from a couple games here, has looked great. The run game's there. I mean, you said what you said, Tim. If you blanket coverage JSN, maybe force a little things here. We'll see how that develops. But the defense looks amazing. Darnold has looked more than above average. They've got a real coach. They've got a real home field advantage, and they can win on the road. And once again, I mean, that they probably made the Rams look the worst this season, especially in that second half of that game that Darnold tried to throw away. But I mean, they put the clamps on the Los Angeles Rams there. So I can't take them out of the category based off one game because other than that, they've handled their business. Even that game they lost to Tampa early on, a ball ricocheted off someone's helmet and got picked, and then they end up losing that game. They were driving to win. So their losses have been legitimate losses. I don't think they're phony at all. I don't think they're fugazi at all. And I think they're going to be a super tough out, home or on the road.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
All right. And then we got the Buffalo Bills.
2 AFC East teams.
I would put the Buffalo Bills actually down in the flawed contenders. I think that their rush defense is bad enough to where that's a legitimate flaw. And if they get the right matchup to really exploit that, I think that could be something tough for them. So I would have them personally down in the flawed contenders, but I do think still that you have to take them very serious. They're going to get into the playoffs, and if they're in the playoffs, they're going to have the quarterback most likely, unless Mahomes is there with the most playoff experience, the best quarterback in every game. They're going to go in with that. They're a team that's been there, done that, and a team that we said preseason, like, what else do you have? Like, this is the season. Like, you have everything's there for you. This is the season, and if the playoffs play as they are today, this really is going to be the season for you. But I'd have them in the flawed contenders. I just think that their rush defense is a little bit too much of a problem. Like, they're like the worst in the league or 31st in the league when it comes to all rushing stats, roughly. Timmy, you go.
I don't mind that at all. I think that they are definitely a flawed team. Wouldn't surprise me if they made a Super Bowl, but it would not surprise me if they lost in the second round like they normally do. That's not crazy to think. So, yeah, it's really tough this tier because they seem more flawed than all these other ones. This is why it's so hard for me to pick an AFC representative in the Super Bowl. I have no idea. All these teams.
Let me counter you guys on the Bills and why I think they're a true contender. Out of their 4 losses, I would say 3 are legitimate. That Falcons one was probably the one where they looked the worst. Then you got 2 divisional losses, one against an emerging Dolphins team, and a Dolphins team that probably gets the better of them at least once a year. Pats, we can't sneeze at that. Pats obviously haven't lost since week 4? 3 or 4?
September 27th, I want to say today.
Crazy.
Haven't seen it.
And
Just don't know what it looks like.
And then the Texans, red hot Texans team at home. Texas is a tough place to play. This is right in line where the Bills are any season. We've seen weaker teams come in. The Bills with a weak run defense. Specifically that year, they lost to the Bengals in the divisional round to go face the Chiefs. We've also seen that run defense show up this year, I would say. But I say that to say, really, they've only got one terrible loss. They're right in line where they'd normally be. They've had explosive performances in each month of the season. And they got Josh Allen. I can't count them out. They got James Cook. They actually just got Darius Slay for whatever that could help for their team. They got Brandon Cooks for whatever that might help their team. I don't know. They could just be around the fringes, but, same thing I said about the Eagles. When it comes down to it, are we really going to pick up against the Bills, depending on the matchup? I mean, I don't know. Josh Allen's as good of a postseason performer as any QB that's ever lived. So it might not even matter with the run defense, depending on who they play, depending on what the score is, depending on how Josh Allen's playing. So I don't know. They are flawed. I agree with you guys. But when you actually look at their schedule, when you look at this team, they've been more impressive than not, I would say.
With the run defense, too, they haven't had Ed Oliver. He tore his bicep pretty early on in the season. There's optimism that he can return for the playoffs. Week 1 of the playoffs would be as early as they could get him. That's a huge deal if he's healthy and playing again. He's damn near an all-pro defensive tackle when it comes to making plays and stopping the run. So,
yeah. I mean, I think when it comes down to it, we just talked about the Broncos, we're going to be talking about the Pats. Those are young teams who are pretty unproven. They got the coaches. The Pats, in this case, have the win streak. Ravens might find their way out. And if they get into the playoffs, it might be limping into the playoffs. It looks like it's going to be limping into the playoffs.
They might be scared of this Bengals team they're about to face.
No Steelers. We might not get the Bengals. We probably won't get the Bengals. Likely might not get the Chiefs. Bills ain't going to be afraid of anybody. And, even if they're playing on the road, I think a lot of people are going to be back in the Bills. And, they just haven't had, again, aside from that Falcons game, there hasn't been that game where you're like, man, I absolutely cannot trust this team. Even in those losses, it wasn't necessarily the run defense, if you want to say that's their weakness. So, I don't know. They're as dangerous as anybody to me. If we want to move on to the Pats, I don't know, Keaton, if you want to give your case or if Tim wants to give his case first. But
you can give your case, Tim. I'm just going to tell you why I think they're better than those other 2 teams that you had put them with.
I can give you both the cases if you want me to. You pick a side.
Sure. I want to hear all things Pats.
Sure.
You go, Tim.
They've won 10 straight, and the biggest argument on this, a lot of people say they have a weak schedule. What else do you want them to do? Do you want them to lose?
Exactly.
They've done
They
exactly what they
wax
should.
the teams. That's the difference between these two teams. The
decline.
Broncos are winning overtime games with the Commanders, and we're waxing teams. That's the difference.
Define waxing.
We're beating teams by 2 touchdowns. That is a blowout in football standards.
You are beating the New York Giants. I don't care about that.
We're beating bad teams. I mean,
I like how Tim gave a case and then
I'm saying, I can make the case
we love
either
the
way.
fact that the
I'm just
Lions
definitely
blow out
on this
bad
side.
teams.
Sure.
We love the fact that the Lions blow out bad teams, and we lamented the fact that the Chiefs didn't last year.
The Lions
We're blowing out bad teams.
also blow out good teams. They blew out the Ravens earlier in the year. Obviously, we don't know if the Ravens are good anymore, but they last year were blowing out great teams. That was happening. The Patriots
We beat the Bills, and we beat the Bills on the road in Buffalo on Sunday night, and we beat Tampa at Tampa.
You're right. You got 2 quality wins. We were just talking about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a flawed team that might not even make the playoffs, but we're going to call it a quality win, no doubt. Either way,
I would call it a quality. I mean, do we not think? I think that the Bucs are a good
win.
team.
But I'm saying, the Bucs have been trailing off for a while now. The Bills, we just said, are flawed contenders, so they might be a little bit closer to the Patriots than we think they are. When it all comes said and done, we're in January. I'm not picking a first-time rookie playoff QB here to win a football game against a team that has experience. Is my only take on that.
So you wouldn't take them against Buffalo, correct?
I would take Buffalo over them.
And then who else in the AFC if the playoffs started today? Are we taking Denver?
I would take Houston for sure. I would take Denver. What's the other AFC team?
I would take the Jags.
I would take Cincinnati. I would not take the Jags because I think they would play. I think the Jags would lose week 1 and they wouldn't make it to play the Patriots. I think the Patriots are a week 2 exit of the playoffs. I think they'll have
regardless of who they play.
Sure. Before Keenan goes, I just want clarification. Broncos go to Gillette. You think the Broncos win that game?
I do, and I think it's an ugly 13-10 game. Something.
If you tell me it's the reverse, if you tell me the Pats are going to Denver,
which could happen, that wouldn't be crazy at all.
Which could happen, but I think it's dead reverse for me. If Broncos go to Gillette, I'm taking the Pats all day. I'm not even worried about Bo Nix. Pats go to Denver, I'm worried.
I could care less about Gillette's home field advantage.
It's not even that. It's Bo Nix on the road. It's Bo Nix.
That's fair, but like I said, a 13-10 game. That's all defense.
And Gillette's got a real home field advantage.
We were a death trap for years.
When TB12 was there, but not quite in this era.
You just wait until the second weekend of January.
That crowd will bring it.
Wait until the second weekend of January. That's all I got to tell you.
Our fans show up in January.
That's all I got to tell you.
It's okay. Bengals.
I would take the Bengals.
Bengals end up in the playoffs.
I would take the Bengals and the Ravens. I would not take the Steelers. But the Steelers aren't winning a playoff game, so we're good.
I just want to talk this out before we get Keenan's full retort, and then I'll come in at the end because I have my own questions and thoughts about the Pats. Bengals, who don't have a defense to speak of, who will have Joe Burrow, but don't have a real defense at all to speak of. You trust them. They've had some awful losses this year that honestly, even if Joe Burrow is playing in, I'm not sure how much he helps.
I think if Joe Burrow was playing this whole season, we'd have a completely different season. Absolutely. They would. In my opinion, I don't think they would have lost to the Jets. I think they would have beat the Steelers the second time. That's 2 more wins right now, and then they're in the lead in their division.
I think they have 2 more wins at the most, honestly. I don't really think
that would still put them in control
of
their division. But that's with a terrible defense.
For sure.
But when
Ravens right now, so you're saying in 2 weeks when the Pats, or 3 weeks now, I believe, when the Pats play the Ravens, you're taking.
I'll bet you right now. I bet you the Ravens beat them in 2 weeks when they play them. I'll pick them.
Based on what? Because I do think out of all this, if the Ravens just get right, if the Ravens can just get right going into January, that's the team out of everybody that you don't want to see. That truly can be complete, can be explosive, everything that we're talking about, right? But as of right now, what confidence do you have that Baltimore can win that game
So
against the Pats?
we kind of alluded to this earlier. Lamar Jackson's
Mhm.
been a statue. He's obviously still dealing with some sort of injury, whether it's the foot
Mhm.
or the hamstring. We don't know.
Mhm.
2 weeks, let him get healthy. Just let him
Mhm.
do fine, and then
He's gonna play. He's playing football against the Steelers this week. You know,
yeah, and
like
they're gonna probably
he,
win that game 15-12, like, and just kick a bunch of field
and he
goals.
might get killed. in that game. Like that game just naturally is a bad game
Nah,
for him when it comes
he ain't
to
running.
Ravens have to
physicality.
have a promising December. That's what they
Okay.
absolutely have to. And they have to have a
Just-
promising 2 weeks
just
going into
checking.
that Pats game.
Just checking.
I'll
Keenan
pick him
retort.
right now to beat that to beat the Patriots 24-17 in 2
Okay.
weeks.
Okay. That is
All
in
right.
Baltimore. That is in Baltimore,
That's
and they
fine.
might look better than
That's
they do
fine.
right
They
now.
lost the Bengals 32-14. He perpetually beats Joe Burrow. They were 6-1 against Joe Burrow, 10-1 against the Bengals going into that one. He did really well. All right, that's fine.
Oh, yeah,
I
and
mean,
then the Bengals would have beat the Patriots with Joe Burrow as well. So that's 3 wins, in my opinion, at least. That
okay,
they'd be better.
fair enough. You know, it's hard to win 10 straight games, but you know they did it anyway.
No, I gave them credit for that.
listen,
They won
I
10
think-
straight.
I just think
they beat the schedule that they were provided. They can't do anything more than that. When the schedule
They
that they were
can't.
not provided in the playoff comes to terms, they will not, in my opinion.
We don't know. I mean, we say that, but I mean, we saw Jaden Daniels wake up in an NFC Championship game last year after beating Detroit in Detroit. So things like that happen. They obviously beat the Bucs at Bucs as well. So things like that happen. We obviously have a lot of these quarterbacks who we would say all Drake May's at top 10 guy at least, right?
Some would say top 7. Some would say top. I mean, you
I
gotta
mean,
put him in the top.
at least
You honestly
top
gotta put him in
10.
the
Like,
top
I mean,
five.
no, I'm just like, I'm not
But yes,
just for
generally-
no argument.
generally
Top 10?
speaking, yes,
You agree?
yes.
Top 10?
Yeah, I'll say top
CJ
12.
Stroud. Okay, you say top 12. Fine. Top 12. I don't care. CJ Stroud, 2 playoff games. He's won playoff games. We saw obviously a lot of these quarterbacks have come in and won playoff games as a guy in their first playoff game. You know, it's not the first guy ever to win a playoff game in their first one. We had a guy in Tom Brady who looked ugly at his draft, and he won 3 playoff.
Where are we going? Where are we going?
No,
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's
getting
Tom
off
Brady. I'm not
topic.
saying
The Patriots.
no, I'm not saying he's Tom Brady at all. I'm just basically
Can-
saying that there's no reason why he can't. And we have a proven head coach, and we have a proven coordinator who's been in every single situation. So we're not going to lose in a coaching experience.
I agree with you with the no reason why we can't. Sell me on why they're not on in the Bears position where he had them, where they're unproven, but
Because we don't need a great punt return, kick return, and a long field goal to beat teams like the Vikings.
fair.
Because we have beaten the teams that the Bears have had a very bad schedule too. They've had the easiest to our second easiest or the opposite, whatever the case may be. Might after the Eagles game might have swapped. The Bears have had that Eagles game and the Cowboys game early, which the Cowboys obviously at that point had no defense. And those are the games that they've blown people out. And other than that, it's been fights. It's been fights to get W's. It's been comebacks against a Giants team that Timmy thinks is horrendous. We had them beat in the first quarter.
Tim also knows they're a very competitive 2-win team, whatever the
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
had them beat in the first 15 minutes,
and they didn't
17-0.
They didn't have a defense for the first 12 weeks of the season, so.
We don't be like. I'm just.
I'll say that.
Okay,
no,
whoa,
I'm
whoa,
just
whoa.
saying. Like
You got
the
a
reason
kick
why they're
return
better than the
touchdown.
Bears.
You're not banking on a kick return touchdown every single time. Like,
no, you're not banking on a kick return touchdown, but that's an all-pro there and returning.
I could
like,
care
that's a-
less
that's
about
a-
who the all-pro kick returner is in the league every
No,
single
you
year,
can,
man.
you
What the
can, but
hell?
when you can care less. But when that guy gets you in great field position, and we're better in offensive, defensive, and special teams, which matters. That's why the Patriots of old were always great. It's because we were better at special teams than everyone else.
Let me say this. I agree wholeheartedly with both of you. I ended up putting this team in the true contenders because guess what? 10 straight, you have to. If I could compare this to a recent team, it would be the Eagles team that lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, that had an easy schedule, who I picked to go, I believe, to the Super Bowl that year just based off their schedule.
You had them 13-4, winning the division and going at least to the conference, not Super Bowl.
Difference between those two teams. Eagles had a ton of talent. The Patriots have pretty good talent. They are extremely well coached.
Yes.
The one thing that's bought me in is that they're extremely well coached.
Yes.
Tim, where I agree with you, do I, as a diehard Patriots fan, believe this team will be playing on Super Sunday? I do not. I truly do not, as we speak right now. Next year, all in.
This is the Kool-Aid you need to be drinking, Kyle, is that if they win one playoff game this year, you had above and beyond a better season than anybody could have hoped for.
Now, do I think we're playing on?
We're losing our minds to say that they're going.
No, but here's the thing.
Super Bowl the next year.
Here's what you can sell me on. Here's what you can sell me on.
Yeah.
Especially if we're talking about like as presently constructed right now. If the Ravens are limping in, no reason at all why the Pats can't be playing on Championship Sunday, not Super Sunday, Championship Sunday.
Dude.
No reason at all. If the Ravens look as diminished as they are now, if we get the Ravens, we get the Texans, and we get the Bills, and the Ravens look a little better, I probably like all three of those teams to some degree a little better than the Patriots. I am scared to death of the Texans if I'm any one of these AFC teams.
100%. I agree with that 100%.
So in that case, I don't think the Pats are fugazi at all. Whereas maybe through weeks 4, 5, and 6, I was like, I don't know, let's see it. Right? Drake May looks like a vet. This team is completely bought into Vrabel. Vrabel is just as good of a coach as you can have. The defense, while they're not perfect, they fly around, they make plays, they play aggressive, they hit hard, as we saw on Monday night. They can certainly beat anybody, though. But am I sold as a Super Bowl team? No. Are they contender? Of course they're a contender. They got 10 straight wins. You cannot sneeze at that at any form or fashion in the NFL, especially when we talk about we don't know if the Panthers are good, and we see teams that we love lose to them left and right, or teams that we had high expectations for lose to them left or right. So Pats have to get their credit for that. I don't want to hear the whole schedule thing because we see that every year. And again, like Keenan did say, we've seen this with Jaden Daniels already. We saw it with CJ Stroud his first year. Like we see it with these young QBs. Drake looks the part. Yeah. His stats back it up. The coach backs it up with his performance. But I do agree with you, Tim. There's probably contingent, especially on the Ravens. If the Ravens look any sort of dangerous at all going to the playoffs, yeah, I'm going to defer to them. I'm even going to defer to the Bills, even if we beat them twice. Honestly, I'm still going to be scared to death of Josh Allen in the playoffs.
Of course.
They're a real team.
100%.
And then the Texans, they just, like we said, they look like they're peaking at the right time.
I've got one thing.
And that's without even getting
I got one thing.
I know. I promise is one thing in this, and we're fine. The AFC started today. I would think the Patriots could get to the Super Bowl. Very much so, because the Chiefs aren't in it. The Ravens look bad. The Texans aren't in it. The Bills, obviously, I do think we can beat the Bills. That if that's the one team in Foxborough, do I think we can beat the Bills? Yes. Could the Bills beat us? Of course. I'm not making it seem like this team's unbeatable. If this team was in the NFC, I don't think we would be like a surefire, like we are getting to like at least the conference championship, not the Super Bowl, because I think that they're not that great yet. Me saying I'm confident in them actually getting to the Super Bowl is the fact that this AFC. But if you told me Mahomes, the Texans, the Ravens are looking good and the Bills are all in the playoffs, well, let's hopefully get to the championship game and I'll be super happy.
To be fair to what Keenan
and even
said,
if not, like if we lose a close one, I would be like, you know what? We've got the pieces and we've got what we're looking for moving forward.
To what Keenan and I have both said, that being said, if they draw the Ravens, Texans, Bills, I don't see them getting blown out. That's the one thing here. I don't see them getting blown out.
I'm not arguing that. I don't think they're like
so I don't think they're a fake
team.
team at all. Exactly. I don't think they're a fake team, and I would love to have put them in the Bills or in the Bears tier, which, by the way, was initially named to be determined part 2 because I just can't make left or right of the Bears. I feel almost the same way about the Pats, except for the fact that you can see very clearly they're well coached. And they very clearly do not have a poor unit other than the offensive line, which is banged up right now. But even that, it looks like it doesn't matter right now. Like everything looks like it's at least accounted for, like it's being coached around. So they're an extremely hard team. They're my favorite team, the team I'm watching on Sundays, and I still have a hard time assessing them other than to say I think they're going to be competitive, but it is a stretch to say they're going to be playing on Super Sunday, I think. And then Championship Sunday will be extremely hard to get to, but of course they're contender. Go ahead, Tim. We can wrap up.
Keenan, I'll give this to Kyle too. I'll give you a chance to put your money where your mouth is. I got a timestamp right here. Monday at 8:40 p.m. You said the Patriots will be representing the AFC in the 2025-2026
100%.
Super Bowl.
Stamp it.
$100. I'll give you 2-1 odds right now that they will not make the Super Bowl.
I'm not taking that. I'm
not taking a bet on it.
Oh, here we go. Timestamped it. He said stamp it.
No.
I just don't want to make money, right? That's just what I.
No, I don't. Wait, $100. I'm putting 100 on it.
I'll give you 2 if they make it.
I don't feel like putting 100 on it. I'll go 50.
Wait. The confidence is. Are we back?
No, I just.
He's $50 confident.
I just don't put $100 bets in.
We shook it on live.
Yeah, no, we're here. I just don't put $100 bets in. That's it.
All right.
I don't know.
Listen, I don't put $100 bets. I'm trying to get a house.
That's because you lost to me on a $100 bet podcast 2 years ago.
No, I just don't. I know. I just don't put. I don't like to put $100 bets. But sure, I'll bet it. 100%. I already have a bet. I already have it in a bet in FanDuel.
I'm sure you do.
Right now. It's in a slip right now. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not.
I'm not taking that. I do not think the Pats will be the AFC representative.
That's fine.
Maybe I think differently once we do these tiers coming out of Week 18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's
right now.
And you know what? And then coming out of Week 18, if we have to go through, say, a Ravens team that's cooking, and then possibly go through the Chiefs or something along those lines, would I feel confident in that? No. But
more than likely, they're going to be the 1 seed.
But
too.
would I have to? Would I stick with it? Of course, I'm going to do that.
I'm confused.
I don't know what we're confused about. I just didn't want to put $100 bet.
No, I'm saying you got bets in. You stamped it in the group chat. But if we get
then you said, but no, if we get right here on this pod.
Yes. Would I say that we're going to win? Yes, but I don't think the Chiefs are making the playoffs. That's a check. I think the Patriots are getting to the Super Bowl also because the AFC is weak. I've said that multiple times. I'm going to say it. I'll say that real clear one time. I don't think the Ravens are great. I think the Ravens are playing bad football, and I don't know if they're going to be able to turn it around. I do not think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs. Those are two teams that are typically you'd be worried about that you're not. The Buffalo Bills are not a team that I think we cannot beat. Going into that game, are we scared of the Bills? Of course. Were we scared of Ray Lewis and the Ravens? Of course. But did you think we were losing? No.
Depend on the Sunday.
No, you didn't. Were we scared of the Broncos? Of course. Did we think we were losing? No. Did we end up? Of course, you can lose. Duh. As a Texans, a scary team because of that defense. Of course. But do I think we can win as the Patriots? Yes. And everything's going through Foxborough, so it's not gonna matter.
We'll see. Look, this.
I just don't know what's so we're confused about.
It just sounded like you were backtracking a little bit.
I'm not backtracking at all. I'm not backtracking in the slightest. The Patriots are going to be in the Super Bowl. We'll talk about what the Super Bowl is going to look like from there. I don't know how much more I can be clear on this.
I won't,
Patriots will be representing
I won't backtrack at all. They are not making it, and I'm willing to put 100 on it.
I'm enjoying the ride out here. I'm enjoying the ride.
And I'm enjoying a great ride. It is a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be a Patriots fan.
The only thing I would stamp was that they'll be playing on divisional weekend. They won't get bounced. They'll probably have a bye, so we won't even have if they were to not get a bye, if they were for some reason to be a 2 seed, I think they would win week 1. But then again, as I'm saying that, it's a good chance they would draw the Ravens or the Bills.
Yeah, or the
Ravens. They wouldn't, because the Ravens will be the 4. Bills, they probably won't, because the Bills will move up to the 5 or the 6. So they'd be playing the 7, which could be a Texans team, which could be a Jags team, which could be a Chiefs team, which could be a Chargers team. Those are your most likely, or a Colts team possibly. Those are your most likely outcomes at that 7.
You know what I love about this?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, coming out of week 11, week 10, we never would have thought the Bears would have been the 1 seed in the NFC. And it very well might not be that way coming out of this Sunday, right? We're going to find out extremely quickly, because the Pats have gotten a ton of buzz, I would say, since week 6. They beat the Bills and they got love for that week. They beat the Bucs and they got love, and it's been since that. So coming out of this bye week, they get Bills and Ravens back-to-back, and then their schedule softens up. We'll find out very quickly.
Will I be insufferable with the Patriots helmet all podcast if they get to the Super Bowl? Oh, boy.
I mean, all I can say is by week 18, it seems like the season's going to be done here, and it will be. In a blink, the regular season's going to be done. That being said, there's a ton of football to be played. There's so much football left. There's so many questions to be answered. And more likely than not, we're going to be sitting here after week 18 and we're going to be shocked as shit about something in particular in the NFL, whether it's the Pats, whether it's name a team. We're going to be shocked as shit about something. There's going to be a loss, something. So
Kyle doesn't want the Patriots in the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game because he doesn't want the anxiety yet. He's not ready for it.
That's true. That's true.
He's
I did
not
get
ready.
Secondhand anxiety from watching old Pats clips.
He's
in the
not ready
playoffs.
for it, and I'm all the way ready for all of this.
We'll be playing divisional weekend. There's a strong chance. I'd say 50-50 chance that we're playing on championship weekend. But these AFC teams, man, like I said, like Ravens, Texans, the Ravens cannot all get it together. The Texans already scare me. And the Bills, I'm not counting it. Like, honestly, I've probably, as we speak, feel the best about the Bills out of the AFC.
So, Timmy, who do you have then going to the Super Bowl as of this moment right now?
I've already told you it's extremely difficult for me to take a pick. Right now, I have no answer for you.
Gun to your head. Gun to your head.
Gun to your head.
Give me.
I'm taking Buffalo.
That's
how
great.
I feel. That's how I feel.
That's great.
If I had to rank them right now, and this sounds
they
wild,
better get there.
This would sound wild. It would.
I don't have $100 on it.
No, not for you. I mean for Buffalo. I couldn't care not the money. This has nothing to do with that.
If I had to rank them in the AFC, it would be Buffalo and then a 2A, 2B, Texans, Pats in some order. Then, of course, if the Ravens get right, we'll see. But I'm not sleeping on the Texans.
Again, I'm not saying the Pats are a bad team. I think they're probably the second, third, maybe fourth best chances of making it to the Super Bowl. I just don't see it. I just don't think it's in the cards. Not this year. Maybe next year. Get another piece on offense. Defense gets a little bit better, incrementally better. And
that's kind of where I'm at. I think this is...
Said the same thing about the Bengals.
Here's the thing.
That's fair.
Pats probably have a first-place schedule next year, so we'll be able to see in real time next year.
The fall-off.
Addition, yeah, right? The fall-off possibly, but additions or no additions, we'll be able to see if they fall off, if they maybe limp their way through 10-7, 9-18. We'll find out. It's going to be fun to watch this Patriots team grow and grow. They're going to go from love to hated very quickly, I feel like.
Can't wait. Love being a villain. Means we're good.
Hey, I've been telling Keenan the last 2 days, I'm like, hey, I think we're going to have a lot of conversation when we get to the top 2 tiers in particular. And we brought it. And I think we're over the 2 now.
No, we have one more thing we got to quickly do.
We do got to do one more thing.
Got to do Thursday.
I'm going to say right now, I think it's the Lions 3-point spread. It's in Detroit.
I'll tell you.
38-35 Detroit. I can't imagine Dallas winning like 8 or 9 in a row or continuing to go on because I think that they can run off a few afterwards. I think that Detroit's going to bring it. And I think it's going to be one of those games where we're like takeovers on everything. What players, I think this is going to be one of those Bills-Ravens where you're like, everybody's going off. The Rams and Chiefs from a while ago, everyone's going off. I think it's going to be one of those fun games where we are just like, man, this was a great watch. Sorry, Kyle. 38-35 Detroit.
Tim, what you got?
This is like a very tough game. I can't imagine myself picking against Dan Campbell off a loss. But if Amon-Ra's not playing, man, it would take Jahmyr Gibbs 200 yards and David Montgomery another 150 for me to feel comfortable about them winning. And I don't see that happening. Take the Cowboys 31-23. I think it'll be kind of convincing. I think they'll just run away with it.
You're going to get Detroit's best effort,
yeah,
even without Amon-Ra. But I'm going 27-23 Cowboys. I think this is not the same Cowboys team we've seen in past years where they just lose these type of big games. I think they handle business. I think it'll be contender talk with Cowboys moving forward.
They'll be one game out of the Eagles. So,
what was your scorecard again?
27-23.
27-23, and then Timmy, yours was 31-23.
Listen, I absolutely loved this podcast. The best thing about this, one more tiers list to go to end the season after week 18. We also have one more Keenan's QB tiers to go.
Oh, then there'll be the playoff editions, and when Drake May is number 1 on it, guys, don't be shocked. I'm joking on that. I'm really joking on that.
Can't wait to see. Can't wait to see. Listen, as I've said multiple times over the last few weeks, this is the best time of year. Holiday season means mini postseason. It's like pre-postseason, weeks 12 through 18. You find out who's who. You separate the boys from the men. It's the best. It's the best. And we get to be christened with, or y'all get to be christened with, Cowboys Lions tomorrow to kick it off. Got some killer matchups on Sunday. Can't wait. Can't wait to do the picks. Fellas, any final thoughts before we sign off?
This was fun.
This absolutely was
Good time, Tim. Hope everything's going well on your end.
Glad to have you back, Tim. Shouts to Violet. Shouts to Gabby. This was the Warner Brothas Podcast. We will be back very soon. Enjoy the football this weekend. We're out of here.